this is Creature. I'm making a video today to wrap up my 5th devlog for DREAMEATER. I know it's been a while, but I'm really excited to finally show you guys what I've been working on and to finally announce the release of the demo. So today I'm just gonna show off a couple things I've been working on in Unity 6 because I have upgraded the game to the Unity 6 engine and really have had fun with seeing what's new and seeing what I can do with this engine for a 2D game. So right now I'm showing off some new sprites that I've done recently for the characters, as I feel like I now have a universal style that I'm going for the sprites, and I feel confident enough remaking them and now finally adding some rigging and some new features to these character sprites. So for these sprites, I worked on making these final character sprites because at the end of the game you get to finally see all these characters lined up and see their true kind of forms, quote unquote. So I'm just going through each of them and making sure I have a matching sprite. Like their design has to be very consistent, and that way the player can make sure this is the same character, these are the same sprites as I saw earlier in the game. So that way they can be more consistent and more detailed as well, because I believe most of the early sprites that I made were very rushed, very placeholder, so I'm just going back and redoing all these cool character sprites and also adding some new details, some more design changes and stuff like that, till I'm very happy with them. Another reason I'm also remaking these character sprites is because I have finally learned how to do a PSD importer with 2D inside of Unity. So I didn't realize that I could save these files as a PSD and then import them as a PSD, because that'll save the layers. So the layers are really important because that keeps all the parts separate, and for the rigging to really make sure everything deforms properly, it has to be separate. So I finally figured out how to rig, and do 2D rigging, because I've never done 2D rigging inside of Unity. It's my first time doing it, and my first time, really seeing what I can do with it. Because I was really worried. I was so worried I would have to do, 2D drawn, hand-drawn frames for each, animation and stuff that I wanted to do. But I discovered that, no, it's not that hard. I can actually go in and make a rig for each of these characters and just make a simple, movement animation for them. That's really what I wanted. I didn't want, any crazy animation or anything. I just wanted to give my characters some life. And that's what I was able to achieve with the 2D rigging in Unity. Because you can just open a sprite up in Unity and you can just go ahead and start making the rig, the skeleton, and then you can just start animating the rig right off the bat, just inside Unity. And that's what I really did here. I'm gonna finish up this time lapse I did of all of the planetary characters that I have, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, etc. And I'm going to move on to showing my process of doing some rigging and actually using the 2D rigging in Unity to animate my sprites. So now we're inside Unity and we are going into the sprite editor and starting making our little rig for this. I'll call it a kaiju character because that's what I've been referring to these characters and they're like little monster forms, just like little kaiju forms. I'm going through and making sure all of the layers aren't like sticking, making sure the bones don't like deform any other parts really weirdly or anything, because when you're working with layers, sometimes the bones can like automatically grab different parts of the body that you don't want to move. So that's when I'm just going through and making sure all of the weights are good and everything, and even cleaning up the geometry of the actual sprite, just with that foot there, and making sure everything moves the way it should be, honestly. Because usually what I do is I just make the skeleton, which is the rig, the rainbow colored segments, I'll call it, and just making sure those don't move in it like a nasty way, and just making sure everything moves the way it needs to before I animate everything. Here I go back into the editor, and I'm adding some colliders and my animator, and here we go. We're diving right into the animation, making sure the sprite is actually conformed to the actual rig with the sprite skin. And there I am, just making some really quick animations for the ribbons, making sure they curl, and just making a simple, really simple idle animation, which is actually, it's really easy in Unity, but it just takes a little bit of time to set up the actual skeleton and making sure the automatic assignment of the weights doesn't interfere with any of the layers in a really weird way. There's been a lot of times where I just go and make the skeleton, I automatically do the weight painting and everything, and it turns out awful, and I have to spend like let's say 30 minutes to an hour just making sure that rig is perfect. And you can see me doing it a couple times actually in this video, because there are a lot of weird movements and stuff. This is me trying to figure out how to parent the the horns to the antlers that this character has to the actual head, and making sure that works out, because you want everything to be coherent. You don't want to have to make an extra rig just for the antlers for everything to move together. And that would just be a very simple fix by parenting everything together. So this next part is going to be very exciting, because this is going to be me showing off what I've been doing for one of the boss battles in DREAMEATER. So I've been working on the other boss battle that's right before this, which is just not even a boss battle, but it's an enemy that is supposed to scare the crap out of the character, basically, or the player. So what I've been working on with this wolf boss character is I'm very excited to show off how I really wanted to set up this boss, because I really want to make an impact on the player, because this is supposed to be like the player is finding out that, or not finding out, but realizing that this is not just like a dream, it's also a reflection on the player's little sprite character creature. She is trying to figure out what path she should be on. Like, there's two sides of the coin, there's good and evil, and it's like an internal battle, basically, just like a nightmare is. Like, a nightmare is usually something you're super afraid of, and your consciousness is trying to tell you, like, this is something you need to be worried about, basically. So that's what I wanted to really make someone reflect on, like, what is this path that I'm on? What is this journey that this game is taking me on, type of thing, which I'm really excited for people to, like, pick up on the nuance in this game, because I don't like games that tell the player everything. Like, this game is very player driven, like, you get to choose your path, type of thing. So a collider, the player walks into it, and then the dialogue starts, and then the boss battle starts. right now in this stage, I don't have any of the projectiles. I just wanted to focus on setting up all of the systems to call the dialogue, which the dialogue is just scriptable objects and stuff like that. It's super easy, very simple to set up, where the player, or I have been setting up the scriptable objects that have all the strings of data, which are the dialogue lines. And then the dialogue manager reads that and displays it with the UI and everything. So that's what I have set up now. I did set up the states for the player and the boss enemy. Like, the player is not triggered the boss battle yet, so the dialogue isn't triggered. It's in its idle state, and then its attack state, and then it should be several loops of that state, because I did want this to be a pretty intelligent boss battle. I wanted there to be dialogue triggered for when the player takes damage, or when the boss takes damage, or when the player dodges correctly, or etc, etc. It's just behavior states, basically. So that's all I have it set up for now, but it is working pretty nicely. I do have it set up so the player can attack the wolf boss, and the boss then has sprites that display with every state when the because there's, I think, 3 stages that I set up for it. So, like, the first stage is when the boss goes down to 150 health, because I believe it starts at 200, and then it goes down to 100% health, and then it goes down to 0 health, etc, etc. And so I made it realize its own health. That way it inflects on the actual sprite of the boss, so it'll keep taking damage, it'll change, it's all fun stuff that I'm really excited to show off, because it just makes me happy to see that I'm able to put my ideas onto a screen. So moving on, I'm going to go into next that I've been reworking the placeholder rooms for the planetary characters, so like Earth, Venus, Mars. I believe Jupiter is coming up next, and I'll just give you some time to look at that. So as you can see, I've added like a lot. Like, I've changed the whole layout of the room. I don't think anyone's seen Jupiter's room before, because it was, like I said, in a very placeholder state. But now I have all of the objects in the room. I have all the interruptible items that the player needs to then move forward, as these characters, these rooms, they work as like puzzles. Like, the player needs to pick up all the items and give them to the character to then progress as they are given the next key to the room. But Jupiter's room, I really want it to kind of give off the vibe of like a mausoleum or a temple. So the Jupiter planet is obviously beautifully hanging in the room with the clouds, with the rain, because Jupiter is very much a storm god. So I really wanted to give that to the player, this vision of grandness, of just gigantism, like all this grand feeling, just to give them, like, make them feel small. But I really like how it turned out, because I made all the particles for the rain, the clouds, the lightning, even the lightning flashes, I believe. It's not shown in this clip, but it is in the game. And so next I'll be showing off Earth's new room, which I am now giving the player a little bit more to like explore with these preliminary like hallways and temple rooms, just to give each room its own different feeling, its own little universe, basically, because this just grand temple of night is supposed to be like this home for the planets, or the embodiments of the planets. And so for Earth, I really wanted to go with a terracotta feel because obviously Earth is all about humanity and its ability to create and stuff like that. So I really wanted to give that earthy, ancient, fossil feeling. And then when you go into Earth's room, obviously his ghost is waiting there for you, harmed, alone, desolate, and you have to try and help him find pieces of himself. And so he just has a very roomy room, like definitely a bedroom, because Earth is all about the humanity. It's all about the familiarity, because we're from Earth, obviously. So I definitely wanted to give it, like, I definitely was inspired by Howl's Moving Castle, so all of this is placeholder. I am going to add more to it. But so far, I really like how it's coming out, because I am making all new sprites, all new layouts for these rooms. And next we have the very last room in the hallway. We have the sunroom. And it is very claustrophobic. It is very closed off. It is very ominous, because it is the sun. He's the patriarchal leader of the planetary system, as he's not a planet, he's a sun. And I really wanted to give this feeling of corruptness, because story-wise, the sun has been corrupted by a black hole, so I really tried to tell that story-wise with the shapes, the fire, the darkness, the vibe, and the statue of the sun, because he is nowhere to be found, just a placeholder of what once was a ghost. I really like this room. This game does have a lot of religious influence, and it's because I'm very interested in mythical cultures. I took a mythology class in college, and that really inspired me to make like a melting pot of Byzantine, Mesopotamian lore and mythology to this game. And lastly, I wanted to talk about how I'm doing my puzzles and everything for this game. So currently, the first two puzzles in the game have been the ballroom puzzle and the puzzle in Neptune's room. So the ballroom is kind of the first real room in the game. I really wanted this puzzle to stand out because it does hint a lot towards the story. So the player just has to collect a couple items. It goes in their inventory. It is mainly handled by the actual ballroom puzzle manager, but it does involve communicating with the door manager that we have, because all my doors are set up and linked to each other, and there's a long manager that I have that checks if they're locked, if they're opened with the puzzle, etc. So this is the old version of the puzzle, where I was trying to have it set up where the player would interact with a stand, or like a little pillar that had this engraved on the top of it. So I use this little UI to show that the player was interacting with little items, like set up on a little, like, I wouldn't call it a stand, a pillar, but like something that would have like a bowl in it, or a disc, something similar to you would see in like Roman or Greek architecture. But I digress. This puzzle was supposed to be very easy to look at, very easy to understand, and I really hoped that this would work out, but for some reason the UI was not letting me click and drag the gems into the right slots for the player to then progress, because then the door would still be locked, and it was honestly a big issue for this game for a good while, because it just wasn't working out with the UI, it wasn't interacting correctly. So I changed it to what it is now, to where the gems are the same, you just pick them up, they're in the level itself, and you now put them into a slot that is on the wall physically in the game, instead of trying to use like a UI to take care of the puzzle in its whole. Like, now all of the UI is for a little menu for you to pick which gem to actually put into the slot, and then in turn you can take it out and then put it back in your inventory. That way the player has more freedom to actually see if what gem fits where, which it is. I made it very, very obvious which gem goes where because of shape and color, and there's keys in the level that show you which, like, everything's basically a hint. I tried to make it so simple and understandable, that way the player doesn't have a bad experience trying to do the first puzzle. I don't want to make it hard at all, because obviously it is the first puzzle. So, moving on, I am really, really, really excited for you guys to actually play this game. The demo is out now. There might be some things that are still broken, but it is very, very, very polished, because I do have a save system. I do have options, like the music can be turned down and up and everything. So just download it and see how it goes. There is a Google form that I have in the itch page that you can leave all your comments, all your feedback, everything that you can think of. You can put it down there. And there's also a Discord for the demo and the actual development of the game. It's not public right now, so just let me know if you would like to join the Discord, because moving forward I would like to have people in the Discord, but I'm not totally sure if there's enough people yet to actually have a main Discord for this. But just let me know your interest. Let me know what you're most excited about. Are you excited to see what the character stories are about, what the actual gameplay looks like? Because I am taking my time with this and making sure it gets all my love, because I am really excited about this this game. It's my little baby right now. Thank you guys so much for listening to me yap for a little bit, and thank you for checking in on my little game, my DREAMEATER. Leave some comments, leave some feedback, and I'll leave the links in the description for the feedback form and the itch page where you can download the demo free today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.